and save the day there. And in fact, he stuck to his non-interventionist policy. I'm wondering, is the Darfur issue a hot button issue in the African American community? Because if I understand the situation correctly, you've got Arab Sudanese killing African Sudanese. Is that the correct situation that's happening there? The genocide?
I believe so, and I would assume that it is large. I would assume that it is a big issue in the African American community.
Yeah, and if I read the response there, it didn't seem to be a negative response to his call for non-intervention in the situation. And it's worth pointing out that in every single case where quote-unquote humanitarian intervention has occurred, there's been rampant corruption, and most of it centered around the United Nations. Whenever we're part of these United Nations peacekeeping or humanitarian efforts, all that ends up happening is the country in question is turned into a virtual United Nations protectorate, and it loses its sovereignty, and the internal situation of the country simply does not improve. There aren't any examples where it's really, solved the situation. So the idea, the notion that somehow we and or other countries together in some combination have the right or the obligation to interfere in the affairs of other countries, I think is really has had its day and has been disproven just by simple sheer experience. That is something that we need to move on from. So.
Yeah, I think that Dr. Paul's consistency came through last night on the sort of non-interference issue because he is consistent about America not meddling in the affairs of other nations, even if it means even if it's the Sudan and talking about Darfur because it's not just that issue alone that he said don't interfere in, but in each of these issues that come up where we're talking about U.S. Intervention in other countries, he's always consistent on that point. And so I think that was a moment where it's clear that he wasn't going to, he's not going to pander. He does stick to his guns. And even though maybe everyone in the audience didn't agree with his position on it, I think they'd have to at least give him points for earnestness and consistency.
Mm-hmm. And he provokes people to think out of the box, because we are so trapped in these sort of very established parameters. You can think this over here on the left, and you can think that over there on the right. These are your choices. And don't think that there are any other options. There are other ways of viewing this. These are your choices. They have been assigned for you. You get that reinforced by you every time you watch the mainstream media, and that's just the way it is. And he just doesn't play that, and that people have a hard time sort of pinning the tail on the Ron Paul. There's just he's very difficult to identify in the established framework that we've been given. And, God bless him for that. Some people end up scratching their heads and saying, I just never heard that before. Is this, I can't say I disagree with it, but I don't know what to make out of that, so many times when he speaks. And I think that's great. It's really shaking up the consciousness of people. So, do you happen to be by your computer now, Mark?
I am.
Yeah. Can you do me a favor? Go to ronpaul2008.com.
Mm-hmm.
That's the campaign website, and you're going to see this widget that they have installed on the site. Now, they've been, I believe it was Monday at noon, they launched a campaign to raise $500,000 by the end of the quarter, which is this Sunday at midnight. They have now raised $759,081.76. With still 2 days, 4 hours, 42 minutes, and 4 seconds remaining till the end of the quarter. And if you look at this, it updates in real time, dynamically, as a contribution is made, and the name Jessica McCrindle, Lemoore, California. Ali Hajimiri, Pasadena, California. Thank you, Ali. Susan Spencer, Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you, Susan. Updates every couple of seconds in real time. Michael Cantor of Houston, Texas. Now at $759,131.76. And the contributions just are pouring in, sometimes 2 or 3 times a minute. You'll get a new contribution coming in. It's absolutely fascinating. Thank you, James Marcilla of Roswell, New Mexico. It's just a graphical representation in real time of the growth of this campaign of the Ron Paul Revolution and the true, real, actual support of the American people for it. Donald Pickerel of Fayetteville, North Carolina, thank you very much for your support of the Ron Paul Revolution. Jeff McNeil of West Jordan, Utah. So this is, I can barely get the names out of my mouth before it updates with another one. And it's just fascinating.
Yeah, I have it up here too. Yeah, this is it's really pretty cool. When did this fundraising begin?
On Monday.
This particular fundraiser.
This went up Monday at noon. And
you said Monday at noon.
Yeah, and the goal was $500,000. Now we're on our way to $1 million. We're actually on a pace. I did some math, and we're on a pace to $1.25 million. We're doing about $8,500 an hour or something like that. There was a few hours that I calculated we did like $13,000 or $14,000 in an hour. There it goes again. Thank you, Dustin Perro of Lansing, Michigan. So, folks, if you're listening out there, go ahead and do this. It's fun, and you get to see your name up in lights for a couple of minutes. So, and it's just really fascinating and fun, and I hope that they keep this. And I think that when they announce this quarter's number, it's going to blow people's minds, and I think that this little exercise here in and of itself is news. You're watching news right now happening on your screen with this. This is really something. And
Steve, I'm curious because I know you certainly know more about this than I would. How does Ron Paul stack up in comparison to the other candidates, Republican and Democrat, in terms of internet fundraising? I'm assuming he's somewhere near the head of the pack.
He's blowing everybody away. I actually made a good point. I read an article. Thank you, Stuart Bjorge of Hillsboro, Oregon. Where I think it's Huckabee who's doing the same, and he's raised about $250,000 in 2 weeks, doing almost the same thing. Thank you, Darren Gudenschwager of Universal City, Nebraska. And by the way, folks, I'm missing some of the names because I'm not fast enough to read them all. This is how fast it's updating. This is how fast the contributions are pouring in. Actually, in yesterday's show, I said, I'm going to challenge. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this on Josh Ziegel of Franklin, Tennessee. Thank you so much for your contribution to the Ron Paul campaign. Jeffrey Acton of Kansas City, Missouri. Thank you very much. I'm going to do this live on the air on Monday. This is going to be fun because you've got to have fun, right, Mark?
Yes.
I'm going to call. Should I call it Giuliani campaign? See, I really have a thing. No. Let me do both Giuliani and Thompson. I'm going to call the Giuliani and Thompson campaign. I'm going to say, my name is Michael Warchka, and I'm a supporter of Rudy Giuliani. And you know what? The Ron Paul folks, they did this thing with online fundraising, and why don't we do the same? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And I want to see how they dance and step around why they won't do it. Because they won't do it. They won't do it. They won't do it because they know they won't get a damn penny. They won't get anything that even approaches what Ron Paul is getting. And I'm going to put that idea out in front of them, and I'm going to record it. Okay? Maybe I'll just do it live on the air. And thank you, Michael Shuley of Albany, New York. And we're now at $760,206.76. Eric Pavone of Morrisville, New York. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that'd be fun because you know what? Thank you, Mark Simpson of Manchester, New Hampshire. I don't